Now, you could go back to the whole argument on Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher was a very misunderstood figure, not just in Britain in general, but mostly within Scotland. They despised Margaret Thatcher. They absolutely hated her. They blamed her for the sinking of the Belgrano, the issues on the unemployment rates in the early 1980s. They blamed her for the closure of the pits, for countless things, the poll tax, etc, etc, etc. Hell, they even, despised her for that of the right to buy scheme. They hated her for the privatisation, and they claimed that the privatisation was a failure. They hated her for the deregulation, which they tried to say was the cause of the banking crisis. This is the problem with their argument, because again, you could turn your attention to that of Denmark, sitting there with extremely low levels of government regulation, and yet there is Denmark that stormed past 2008 without a problem. A number of these people have this view that deregulation is what leads to crisis, and that privatisation is a problem. They're almost saying that the economy prior to Margaret Thatcher was what they should live by. That was an economy that was heading on the road towards communism, and that isn't even a joke. This was an economy that was one of the most heavily nationalised based economies outside of the communist world, through the trade unions that caused so much harm to the economy, the strong government regulation. It had the super high tax rates, etc. It was an economy that was in tatters, and that's what a lot of them support. I'm not saying all of them do. This is the reason for their hatred of the Tory government. They think that the 1980s was some example of a free market, and so their argument in favour of Scotland separating is to avoid that at all costs. But again, if you were to look at the common Scandinavian economy, you will find they actually have Thatcherite-based economies. Like I say, Thatcher wasn't exactly perfect. She wasn't exactly this example of a free marketeer, so to speak. She spoke a good word of the free market, and maybe in practice, she struggled to get through what she wanted. But it doesn't hide the very fact that they absolutely despised her. They hated her and blamed her for so many things that weren't even her fault, because they think that they're finally going to escape all of this, the ideas of the privatisation or the deregulation, even although financial regulations increased under Thatcher and the banking crisis occurred even when the banks were over-regulated, not lacking in government regulation. That was actually one of the main arguments I made in favour of why people should vote no. Because it's a warning signal. Anybody who despised Thatcher that much, who just simply did not have a clue why things happened the way they did, then yes, you're dealing with a people who are subconsciously down the road towards communism almost.